wish you all a happy new year. As I always say, the new year is a perfect time to reconnect with our spiritual practice and time for hope and potential. So may we continue to walk on this great path together with love, kindness, and supporting one another and achieving great things together in this new year, in this coming year. May our Sangha continue to grow in harmony and heartfelt connection, joy, and steady practice. May this year bring new opportunities to learn and practice, study the Dharma. May this new year also bring healing to the whole world, and may kindness and harmonies arise in every heart. So I wish peace and happiness to everyone, to the whole world. I wish you all Happy New Year. Now please take a moment to set your motivation and wish peace and happiness for all sentient beings before we start the teaching. And then listen carefully to the teachings. Today I will continue teaching from a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, written by the great master Bodhisattva Shantideva in the 8th century at the great Buddhist University of Nalanda in India. My teacher in Kanjapa Matse once said that this text is beneficial for beginners and scholars as well as for new practitioners, advanced practitioners. So therefore, I hope you read this text very often, again and again, not enough once, not enough, and then you put it into your practice. That's how we learn practice, that's how we develop our meditation. So this text, this teaching is the most important in Mahāyāna Buddhism. Now, before we start the third chapter, today I'm going to start third chapter. We finished first and second chapter, right? So I would like to briefly discuss how Bhakti Rinpoche summarized the entire teaching into 4 main sections based on the prayer we always say, Shantideva's, bodhicitta aspiration prayer. The first 3 chapters explaining the benefits of bodhicitta focus on arising bodhicitta. The first chapter describes the benefits of bodhicitta so that you are inspired to practice bodhicitta. Second chapter explains how to prepare the mind to practice bodhicitta. Then the third chapter introduced the bodhisattva's vow, the commitment to dedicate your life to help other sentient beings. Then the next chapter, the 3 chapters focus on how to maintain your bodhicitta in the mind. And then the last three chapters present methods for increasing bodhicitta. And then finally, the 10th chapter is concluding prayer of dedication. So this is what the entire teaching, a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, focus on. This is how Patrumbuchi explain or summarize this whole teaching, the 10th chapter, summarized into just 4 sections. It's so important to remember this all the time. Whenever I receive these teachings from my teacher, they always start with this summer, pattern, which is this prayer, Now we begin the third chapter. Third chapter, it's called Fully Adapting Bodhicitta, which I like to describe as a journey to inner strength. So this chapter has 2 main subjects, gathering the accumulation and mind training, basically. Gathering the accumulation has, as you remember, 8 different sections. Of these 8 sections, the first 4, offering section, prostration section, the refuge section, and the confession of negative section were explained in the second chapter. Hope you remember that, right? That is what basically the second chapter is about. You have to remember this because this is how we prepare the mind to practice bodhicitta. If you want or if you wish develop bodhicitta, you have to prepare your mind for it. In order to practice bodhicitta, we need all of these methods. Otherwise, it's difficult to overcome the ego, the selfishness. So these preparations are very helpful, very beneficial. Now, this chapter, that's the preparation, but those are we already discussed in the second chapter. Now, in this chapter, the third chapter, I will be explain the other 4 sections, and beginning with the section on rejoicing. Okay, rejoicing section. Now I will read the root text. The first stanza, it says, "And the virtue that frees all beings from the suffering of lower realms and places those who are suffering in a state of happiness, I gladly rejoice." Simchen kunji nga song dungar nga su gewa dungar chanda derni la gavi sirang. That's the Tibetan. So you will receive the written transmission. So in Buddhism, there are, 3 levels of practitioners: the ordinary level, the beginner level, the middle level, and the great level, the advanced level. So this section, this root text section, focus on the ordinary level practitioners who have been freed from suffering. It teaches us to rejoice in the virtuous causes that liberate beings from the suffering of the lower realms. It refers to those who have escaped from suffering through their positive actions or through the accumulation of merit, which bring happiness in their lives. So therefore, Shantideva was, I gladly rejoice for them. So the point is, practice and rejoicing helps reduce jealousy and increases your own positive qualities. When you rejoice in someone's positive actions, you create merit equal to that of the person you are rejoicing in without sort of needing to perform the same actions yourself. For this reason, rejoicing is considered a powerful, easiest, and um, yeah, very easy sort of practice in Buddhism, Mahāyāna Buddhism. So therefore, rejoicing is regarded as one of the essential practice for cultivating bodhicitta. As I said, these are methods if you want to develop bodhicitta, right? So rejoice in this section. It's one of the easiest to practice, right? To undertake. Yet it generates a great deal of merit. And Mahāyāna and Mahāyāna Buddhism, rejoicing means feeling genuinely happy when you see or hear about the positive actions of others. This naturally prepares the mind for the practice of bodhicitta. This happiness is not mixed with comparison or pride. It is sincere appreciation of goodness. As usual, human beings have a natural tendency to compare themselves with others. When someone has more wisdom or success or other qualities, the ego react with thoughts such as they don't deserve that or I wish I have that. So this creates suffering within us. So rejoicing directly breaks that kind of jealousy. As you know, bodhicitta is the intention to benefit all beings. To develop this intention, our mind, our heart must be open, But jealousy and all this comparison close the heart. There's no room for develop bodhicitta. So Buddhist teachings say that when we sincerely rejoice in someone else's positive actions and their virtues, we receive merit equal to the merit of the act we're rejoicing in. For example, like when I give teachings, if you sincerely rejoice and think through these teachings, many people will practice bodhicitta and benefit each other. If you think like that, if you rejoice like that, you receive merit as if you had performed the teachings yourself. So how profound is that? And then very easy, right? So this is why rejoicing is considered um, one of the easiest methods to accumulate merit, the one of the easiest practice, and also very profound. Because if in order to rejoice, you must open your heart. Uh, Through this practice, you can sort of reduce your uh, self-centeredness, this ego. For example, this is very important. This section, we have to practice this like every single day. For example, someone donates to charity. Someone offers kindness to suffering person, or someone studies Dharma sincerely. We should rejoice in their actions instead of feeling jealousy. So this is why we should practice rejoicing. It is both the easiest and the most profound practice. Otherwise, jealousy is very common and very strong, um, even among practitioners, because it arises uh, from the sort of habit of this sort of protecting the ego, me, you know. So we must acknowledge jealousy when it arises in our mind. Uh, when you see or hear someone doing something good, then even like silently, you can say in your heart, your mind, oh, how wonderful, right? Even if you don't fully mean it at first, that's okay, because, that's how the mind slowly learns. First, you say, oh, that's wonderful, or you helped these people, or whatever is wonderful. It's maybe not really mean it, just say nicely, but that's really nice. That's good, because then your mind slowly, make these habits and learns, and then eventually you really mean it. So when someone else sort of succeed, it doesn't really take anything away from us. So there is no reason to be jealous. So, for example, when someone donates to charity, if you sincerely rejoice, it is as if you donate with them, even though you don't. It's amazing. It's just how you create this kind of positive and merit. Um, so someone else is, very generous and donate to the charity. You just rejoice. There's no cost, no effort, just a joyful mind. That's what rejoicing means. So therefore, or we should not think, um, I am a jealous person, or I am a terrible practitioner. Instead, cultivate kindness toward yourself, um, compassion for others, practice rejoicing again and again in your daily life. That creates, very open heart, so that bodhicitta will arise in your mind. So that's why Shantideva here, one of this section of the he start this third chapter with the rejoicing practice. Okay, keep that in your mind. Then the second stanza, it says, I rejoice in the gathering of virtue. That is the cause for awakening. I rejoice in sentient beings who have attained liberation from the suffering of samsaric birth. Jirchir Gepsakba Tela Jisayarango, Lichin Korwi Dumurli, Nibertala Yarango. So this stanza focuses on the middle level practitioners, right? As I said, there are three different level practitioners. So this stanza is about the middle level practitioners, such as um, like Mahāyāna, there's the Sharvakas, Parthika Buddhas, who have achieved their personal liberation from samsara and who also established their renunciation and freed themselves from attachment and desire. So it says, I rejoice in the gathering of virtue. It is rejoicing in their cultivation of virtue, that is, the qualities of renunciation and wisdom that lead them to attain, they call arhatship. So Sharvakas, they start practice renunciation, they take monks' vows, all that. And then Parthika Buddhas, they start, practice wisdom. So they are uh, achieve their sort of personal liberation from samsara, and establish their renunciation and wisdom. So freedom from attachment. So rejoice that, right? It says, I rejoice in sentient beings who have attained liberation. Here, Shantideva rejoices in both the cause and the result of liberation of Sharvakas and Parthika Buddhas who have fully ended attachment and therefore the suffering of samsara. So Sharvakas attain liberation through listening to the teachings. That's what exactly that name comes from. Sharvaka means listener. And they're realizing the Four Noble Truths, right? Extinguishing the cause of rebirth. And then the Parthika Buddhas attain liberation through profound understanding of dependent arising. So to rejoice in their liberation is to feel genuine happiness that they are no longer subject to dissatisfaction and suffering in samsara. So this rejoicing is free from jealousy, right? Free from envy. It recognizes that their realization benefits others because it inspires confidence in Dharma practice and it encourages others on the path. So rejoicing is, um, as I said, it itself a powerful spiritual practice and the best way to um, accumulate merit without any effort. In our daily lives, if you pay attention, there are countless opportunities to practice rejoicing. It costs nothing, but we often forget, we have missed them, become jealous instead. So rejoicing is not something difficult to find if you pay attention. It appears in ordinary moments all around us every day, all the time. But the problem is we just maybe don't recognize how important, how profound this practice is, or we just we're not mindful, so we missed them. Otherwise, there are so many opportunities uh, to practice rejoicing if you just pay attention, just to be mindful. So rejoicing practice is also not only for others, right? Not only for others. Of course, for others, if they do some good or they, positive, we rejoice. That's very common. But rejoicing will also include yourself as well. Uh, for example, at the end of your day, ask yourself, what good actions did I notice today? Who did I see doing something kind or helpful? So if you notice something, then rejoice in it. So this practice trains the mind to recognize um, good qualities. And also, this is really good for mindfulness. In order to practice rejoice, you have to be mindful. Otherwise, we just miss, opportunity. And if you practice rejoicing like this every day, there's no room for jealousy, you know, um, and allows then bodhicitta alive with your activities, everyday activities. So this is how rejoicing transforms jealousy and envy into virtue and positive. So the rejoicing practice, it makes you really happy because it makes your heart, your mind open, instead of unhappiness. So it's really important. It's very easy if you really practice. It's very easy. It's very profound. Now the third stanza, it says, I rejoice in the enlightenment of the Buddha and also the bhumis attained by the bodhisattvas. So this stanza, Shantideva focuses on the great level practitioners, right, such as the Buddhas and bodhisattvas. So again, rejoicing and the enlightenment of a Buddha means uh, appreciating the boundless benefit that their awakening brings to all sentient beings. Buddhas, bodhisattvas, their teachings guide all sentient beings, whoever want to follow them, um, guide them out of suffering. Their great compassion continue without limit. So, by rejoicing in this, we naturally develop faith, right? Gratitude, and create, vast merit. Uh, and then it also said the bhumis attained by the bodhisattvas. It refers to there are 10 great stages on the bodhisattva path, and each represent profound realization, and compassion. So to rejoice in the bhumis means here to rejoice in the Mahāyāna path itself. In Mahāyāna path, there are 10 bhumis, right? 5 different paths. You practice Mahāyāna, so you rejoice Mahāyāna path itself. That brings also happiness or this great opportunity. You can practice and follow the Mahāyāna path. So this rejoicing protects the mind from discouragement. You know, it inspires you, practice Mahāyāna and cultivates aspiration to follow the same path and knowing enlightenment is possible or accessible to all. So Shantideva teaches that rejoicing is here again one of the most powerful practices for generating merit without any effort. So rejoicing increase merit, deepens your devotion or appreciation and your connection to the Mahāyāna path. More than that, it reduces jealousy, which is really one of the worst obstacle in our practice or in our even like worldly life. It's nothing but harmful, the jealousy, envy, and all this, but rejoicing, strengthen aspiration, and open the heart to compassion and appreciation. So rejoicing is the practice of actively appreciating the goodness and spiritual achievement of others and yourself, oneself. So here, Shantideva emphasizes that by rejoicing in these 3 levels of practitioners, or even in your own success, you cultivate genuine happiness and rejoice that these beings have developed such wisdom and virtue in positive actions. In doing so, you increase your merit so that bodhicitta easy to develop, which is one of the best causes for developing your bodhicitta. More, the next 4th stanza, it says, "Gladly I rejoice in the ocean of virtue that arises from the development of the awakening mind, and wish all beings to be happy, and likewise, and the actions that benefit sentient beings." Simchen tamche denzipi tukchit gewa jamso to simchen pambaran zapala gaviji seirango. This stanza refers to rejoicing in bodhicitta, right? And the activities of bodhisattvas. So it says, I rejoice in the ocean of virtue. This virtue includes the 6 perfections, 6 pāramitās, the Dharma teachings contained in these 6 pāramitās, and all the compassionate activities of the bodhisattvas. So Shantideva, he rejoiced in the compassionate and beneficial work of bodhisattvas. You probably remember one time there was a king from India. He invited the Buddha and his retinues, Buddha and his disciple, and the king offered them lunch. Then there was an old lady, beggar woman, poor lady, who deeply rejoiced in this king's generosity. Uh, then Buddha, at the end, Buddha dedicated uh, his merit of the king's offering to the old beggar woman rather than to the king himself, because uh, Buddha knew that this beggar woman rejoiced, the king's offering, the generosity, rejoiced in deeply, sincerely. That's why Buddha dedicated. Even like the king offered Buddha and all his disciples lunch, um, but this lady, the old beggar, rejoiced and deeply, sincerely. That's why this is she create vast merit. So that's why Buddha dedicated her. So like that, rejoicing is like, planting seeds of joy and bodhicitta in the mind. Uh, Ken invited the Buddha and all of them and then offered lunch. And this lady did not think that, oh, I wish I have that opportunity, or, I wish that's me. Instead, oh, this Ken is so amazing. He accumulated this merit right now. He has this opportunity. He's a king. That's why he, you know, practice whatever his generosity in the past. So that's the reason now he had this opportunity to invite Buddha. It's amazing, and in the future life, the king also he will become better than this life. So that kind of he rejoiced. So as I mentioned before, joy joy helps remove negative emotions such as pride, arrogance, jealousy, all this. In this way, rejoicing becomes a direct and practical method for nurturing the altruistic mind of bodhicitta. So therefore, we should always try to rejoice in virtuous deeds and positive qualities, and try to make it a regular practice in our daily life. Never forget this great practice. That's this section, okay? Rejoice section. Now the sixth section is request for teachers to continue teaching the Dharma. This is also very, very important because it keeps the teachings alive and benefits countless beings. Without Dharma teachings and practice, we remain in samsara with no clear path to freedom. So when the Buddha attained liberation, enlightenment, he said, I have found a dharma that is profound, that is peaceful, um, because it was a subtle, difficult to understand. So he remained in the forest and silent. He did not give Dharma teachings right away. He didn't give Dharma teachings for several weeks. And then, people repeatedly requested him, saying that you left from a royal family, you have walked this really difficult path and reached the goal now. So please share this Dharma, what you learned, and share this teaching, Dharma teaching with the world. And then, of course, Buddha, that's the reason, he said, oh, I will give you teaching. Usually don't say that. People need to request the teaching because that's just very, it shows the Dharma teachings very profound. So that's the reason Buddha did not give teaching for several weeks, even though this was like the Dharma teaching is his main goal. But so then, uh, Buddha finally, of course, accept their request. And then he went from Bodhigaya to Saranath slowly, and gave his first teaching. As you know, the first teaching known as the Turn of the Wheel of Dharma, where he taught the Four Noble Truth, right? Four Noble Truth to the first, there are 5 students. Um, he knew the 5 students. At first, when Buddha arrived there, they were there, but they were sort of very skeptical, and agree not to show him respect. They have different beliefs, different paths at that time. So even though they know each other a little bit, but they did not respect when Buddha arrived there. But when Buddha approached, he's just different, his presence and dignity, natural. They moved these 5 students, and they like had no chance. It's just like naturally they welcomed him and respected him because he's something different. Even like Buddha didn't say any word, but like physically when you saw him, it's something different, right? Changed people's behavior because his realization itself communicated something special. So anyway, that's why now this here Shantideva writes this stanza to request the return of the Dharma, the Dharma teachings. So it says, with palms joined, I supplicate the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for beings lost in the darkness of suffering. Chonam kunja sanji la tharmo jarti sorwa. Simchen dunghar mantabla chuji dume war the source. So for this reason, as I said, we asked teachers to continue teaching in accordance with the capacities of each and everyone, because we depend on Dharma. But the benefit is not only us. These teachings also help future generations, right? And also keep the lineage alive. Because without regular teaching, then misunderstandings arise in your mind, doubt, all hesitations, all this. And practitioners may lose their daily practice without the Dharma teaching. So, each generation faces different challenges. So if the teachings are not transmitted, then also the Sangha may become discouraged, and the lineage can eventually disappear without Dharma teachings. So when people receive authentic teachings, understand the teachings, and then put them into practice, what happens is they become the next generation of teachers. So in this way, Dharma sort of passes from heart to heart. We call it lineage, right? So future generations can learn from, reading text, the books, translations, recorded teachings, all this. Therefore, what is taught today becomes tomorrow's sort of living practice, right? So today you receive a teaching through listening. At first, it exists mainly as understanding, but tomorrow, through your reflection, through your practice, it becomes something you actually live, not just understanding, and how you think, how you speak, how you respond, um, related to experience. Teachings becomes habit if you practice every day, not just understanding, not just a memory. So teaching Dharma trains new teachers, right? Creates conditions for future understanding, and then also maintains the Sangha. That's why Buddha created Sangha, and still Dharma community exists, because the Sangha keeps the teachings authentic. So therefore, teaching the Dharma is also essential. So if you have a goal and a pure motivation to teach one day in the future, you definitely can, and you should, because that's how we do. Otherwise, if there is no future teachers, then Dharma can slowly disappear. So we have to continue keep Dharma and the lineage, the transmissions alive, generation to generation. So that's why request teaching, Dharma teachings, consider Shantideva this year also very important. And through the Dharma teachings and practice, then you develop bodhicitta. So Shantideva's main goal is we all need to practice bodhicitta and develop it. But then all these sections, rejoice. Um, as I said, 4 sections we talked about the second chapter. All of that so important. And then here, so for like the rejoicing section and request and dharma teaching section, also very, very, it's a great method basically for generate your bodhicitta. Okay, not just you. Oh, I want to become, like student in practice and develop my capacity um, and have a good life. Not that, not just you have to think a little bit more. Receive these teachings and then practice, and then eventually in the future I can, you know, um, teach others and help out. That's the best way to help others because, for example, through Dharma teaching, if somebody is a very jealous person, you say, or let them practice, rejoice, then they reduce and purify their jealous. How important is that, right? So that's the best way to help others. Keep that in your mind. I'll stop here and then we're going to meditate a little bit. Today is a very special day, which is the anniversary of the great master Kanjin Jigme Panso. Uh, so this teacher, most of you know him, the most important teacher. Um, uh, Many, many, many years. Uh, and the teacher is the one who introduced us to Dharma, basically, right? Um, you received, even though you never met him, but he's still alive in your heart if you practice these Dharma teachings because they come from, as I said, from them. Through me, give you these transmissions and give you the permissions, all this, basically from them. Nothing about me. So, because of their kindness, we know how to what to practice, how to practice, or why the enlightenment liberation is possible. All this. Um, so today we remember our root teacher, uh, not as a memory of the past, you know, uh, but as a living sort of, how do I say, presence within our own awareness, you know. So on this special day, remembering the teacher is very important for many reasons, especially because their blessings remain sort of alive. So this is not because of today or his anniversary, not itself, but because it brings appreciation and devotion, right? So even small acts such as practicing rejoicing, sincerely on this day, today, for example, or recalling their kindness becomes very profound causes for your spiritual progress. Dharma does not uh, help sort of through texts alone, right? It continues through unbroken transmission. So remembering the teacher with faith, trust, through practice, offering, or recollection becomes a powerful accumulation. And ultimately, it is not about honoring the past, as I said. It's about keeping instructions and realization alive in the present. So remembering the teacher means remembering the path. And remembering the path means remembering who we truly are. We don't need to search for anything special, okay? Simply let gratitude arise, let devotion soften the mind, and let that openness rest naturally. That's the teacher. If recognition of your mind, recognition of your natural awareness arises, know that this itself is teacher's blessing. So on the anniversary of the root teacher, we are reminded that the Guru is not just a person, not just a body, not just a name. The true teacher, Guru, is the wisdom mind that introduced us to our nature mind. So we should not think, oh, my teacher is gone, or that time has passed. From the perspective of nature mind awareness, nothing has gone anywhere. The teacher's mind, the lineage, the Rigpa, the nature mind itself are timeless. Timeless, no past, no future. It's timeless. So most of you received the instructions on how to practice and focus on nature mind, your awareness, nature awareness. So you basically just, we're going to recite his supplication prayer a few times. And then at the end, you just meditate on your nature mind. If you receive the pointing out instructions, just to meditate on that. If you haven't received pointing, you don't know, you don't have recognition, the nature mind, you just at the end of the prayer